Hi, this is Jilly Bling. How are you today? Today's project is using an online exclusive, and it is a product suite called Simply Zinnia. And look at the beautiful images on it. And I've done a few cards using this. I have one right here. Here's one. And this is using an old die set, but just done in blues and purples. Very pretty. And I was using some of the in color papers from last year. But today's project is using the designer paper that comes in the product suite. Isn't that cute? And I did a few different, they're pretty much the same, but just different placement of the little branches, and using Enamel Effects silver, and it comes in a 3-pack. And I'm using the silver on each of the little see the yellow right here, the lemon lolly, and then down here on these tiny little yellow flowers, just a little dot, just a little, depth. And then new gems. Oh, these gems are so pretty. These are in the annual catalog. Can you see how pretty they are? And I'll show you those in a minute, but we'll use Simply Zinnia bundle. And here's the dies that go with it. This die cuts out this, which makes it really easy. This one cuts out the flower and the leaves. And then also wanted to say dies. This die set was in the annual catalog last year, and I think it was kind of a sleeper because it was never paired with anything. And then one time my friend Amy, she bought the die set, and I'm like, well, what is it? What is she buying? But look how, this is like a little clip from the annual catalog. There's a bolder one, and then a little bit more detailed, so you could do some layering and some cute other images too. But I love the fonts on those. But today we'll be using the You're Too Kind. So the bolder one is done in navy, and the more detailed one is done in boho blue. And I was trying to have the blue match the brightness of the flowers. So this is today's project. So the gems are called iridescent faceted gems. Look how pretty those are. Sometimes there's gems and I just love them so much that I don't want to use them, kind of like designer paper, but I'm trying to use them today. And I don't want to use them all up, but they're really pretty. So we'll use those. As we start to make the project, I'll tell you the paper cut sizes. And here's the papers. And here's the paper that's part of the product suite. So I think I have a little bit from each of the different patterns, and this is called Flowering Zinnia 12x12 paper. But look at this in petal pink and white. This is one we'll be using today. The back side of it is all flowers. I love this granny apple green and olive green, just the stripes. There's another green one. This one is this here. But the paper is really pretty, and there are a few pages that they cut out the flowers. Let me see if I have, oh, here's another print right here. Let me see if I have some of those. This is like 3 packs, and I've gone through a lot of it. Look how pretty this is. That is just happy. Those colors are just wonderful. Oh, we didn't go through the purple. I think this is the one. This is the one where the dies cut out a lot of the flowers. Oh, I have a few sheets of that left. But it's really fun. Very happy. Okay, so let's get started. Oop, running out of room. Okay, so the card base is 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, and the inside papers are, this goes on top, designer paper, and the inside pumpkin pie. These are both 5.25 by 4. And the inside white is 5.125 by 3 7/8. And then to cut out, using the dies to cut out the leaves, the little branch, the tiny little flowers, 2 different white flowers, the center, which is blue, This one was navy. I ended up doing all, I think I want the rest of them in boho. There's a die to cut that out and cut out this. Excuse me, I just used paper strips from my little scrap bin. Hold on. So let me show you what I have, and I have them already cut out. Excuse me. So this is for the words from the wanted to say dies. So there is the bold one done in navy. Oop, these are upside down. And the detail done in boho blue. And at first, excuse me, at first I put the detailed words on top of the navy with white, and it was just a little bit too stark, and it was conflicting for the bright freshness of the flower. So I really like it in the boho blue. So boho blue for the detailed, and for the bold, navy. So I'll get those in just a minute. We'll use this mask for the inside in a minute. This little die cuts out, one die cuts out 5 little mini flowers. And that's in Lemon Lolly. I have some Daffodil Delight sitting around, and that would be really pretty too. It's just a little accent. I like how it goes with the navy. And then there's 2 different sprigs, and the stem for the flowers. And here's the flowers. Let me get all the pieces. That's probably easier to see. There we go. So there's 2 flowers, and I cut out 2 of the leaf. We'll put a little bit of color on these with the blending brush, just so it's not so olive. The olive is great, but it's nice to kind of accentuate a little bit. Here's the 2 little bud flowers. This goes with them. Here's those 5 lemon lolly little flowers. And this I've already stuck together, just with liquid glue. And isn't it nice how they kind of nest together, they just fit together. And the whole die set is just like that. And then for the flowers, we'll put these together in a minute. There's 4 pieces. So there's the top flower, the bottom part of the flower. See how this one has a little bit of a smaller center, then that one is a little bit bigger. Then this little halo crown looking, and then this piece. Okay, and I cut these out of scrap paper. So just whatever you have. So even if you don't have the lemon lolly, you could use daffodil or any green that you like. I keep thinking granny apple would be really nice too. Okay, so if you want to do a screenshot, these are the sizes for this card. Okay. So let's start with the designer paper. You're like, well, you just stick it on, but I don't know if you could tell. I did a little bit of pumpkin pie in a blending brush right in the center, so it makes the white flowers look just a little bit brighter. So here's pumpkin pie and blending brush. And I'm going to start in the middle. I just re-inked my pad, so when I touch down it's going to be real heavy, which is fine because it's going to be covered up with beautiful flowers and words. So when I touch down it'll be heavy. Well, that's not so bad. But the less ink that's on the brush, the softer it gets. And if you look at yours and you're like, it's a little bit heavy, it will lighten up as it dries. Okay, that's all. So let that dry just a little bit. Well, I could have it dry right on here. Look how pretty that paper is. And there's no right side up for this. Okay. And then we could just leave those inside for now. Okay, let's work on the front of the card. So these two pieces, there's two of them, two flowers. I'm going to put a hint of color, and that's for this piece right here. This one, I think I did it a little bit dark, and it's okay, but I think I like maybe more of a medium color. So to do that, I will take boho, and just apply a little color. And if you're like, well, how much should I apply? Just think about this center against the white petals. You don't want it to be too matching, but you don't want it to be like Night of Navy dark. Okay, and then these little flowers, these white little flowers, I put a hint of color on them. This one you could see a little bit better. The bottom one, which is a little bit bigger, I did more color. And then just a hint down at the bottom of the top one. So this is the bottom one. This one gets extra color. Then this one, just color at the bottom. And you can see it doesn't have to be precise. And if you don't want to, you could just skip all the blending brush. So now I'm going to put a little bit of Mossy Meadow on the olive die cut pieces. And if you're wondering, well, how much do you put on? If you have these two together coming out from a flower, because they're the same color, they're almost a little bit invisible. So if you just kind of add just a hint of color. And when I'm looking at that, it's like that isn't all that smooth of color, but it'll dry softer. Okay, so there you have that one. But look how it looks against this now. So you can tell the top from the bottom. I might put a little more color right here. Then just a little bit on this. Oh, I didn't do that good at all. And then just a little bit on here. Oh, and I've got the strangest thing to show you about when you go to glue. I'm going to do just the leaves, and let me show you why. On one of the cards I already made, when I glued these together, and I'll do that right now, because they're going to come out from underneath the flower. So once you decide where it goes, like I'm just going to put it together there, just leave it, and I'll show you why. Because if you smush the glue around on the mossy ink that we just applied with the blending brush, it turns kind of red. And at first I thought, what's happening here? Well, this one right here. So when I put the this leaf in place, I put glue on the back, and look what happened right through here. It's just kind of funny. And one time on one of the cards, I have quite a few samples here, I put glue on the back of this little piece right here to hold the flower, and it started to do the same thing. So if you're aware of it, you won't have a problem. I think that's called, someone told me at one point, sepal, S-E-P-A-L. I think that's the name of this little piece right here. Okay, so since we have this, let's make the flower. So this little bud, to make that, I'm going to take a dimensional, a half a mini dimensional. Let's see if I have some ready. Ah, lucky, right there. put it on the top part of the bud, and then I'll put glue right down here. I'm going to try to do it thin so it dries kind of quick. And then line it up with this one. Line up the bottoms, and wherever the top part sticks, that's fine. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be hidden underneath this branch. Okay, doing good. So now I'll put a little glue right here. At first I thought these things were for the center of the flowers. But look what a cute little bud that makes. Okay, I'll let that dry. Okay, let's build the flowers. So to build the flowers, after making, I have 1, 2, 4 of them done. Oh, and this is a thank you card for anyone that orders with me in the month of July. I'll be sending you one of these cards of $50 plus. And so I'm making a few of them. But each time I went to make them, I'm like, I know this one goes on top. And I'd be spinning it around. It's like, I don't know. Because if I get these two in line, then I have big old gaps. So I came up with a little cheat sheet. And it's just a trace of the 2 different flowers, and they're different. This one has a smaller center. This one is bigger, rounder. So that's the bottom. I see there's this distinct one here. Okay. And then there's this one. This one is a bit distinct, so I think it goes like that. And then they just lay on top of each other. Like that. And now it's lined up pretty well. This one is in the middle. And sometimes you just kind of have to shift it around a little bit to get it to work. The funny thing is I'm going to cover up most of it with words, so it probably doesn't matter. But after doing a few of them and trying to figure out each one, like, I need to come up with something. So there it is. And there's a little bit of a gap, but that's okay. The rest of them are just fine. It makes it individual. Okay, so we got this one done. Now there's this one. Bottom. There. Top. Sometimes it's worth doing a little extra effort because it will pay off in the end. A little bit of glue. See, that one went together really good. Okay, and now on these flowers, I'm going to put the centers, the ones that have the blending brush boho on them. Those will go right here. And I know I could put a lot of dimensionals on, like each layer of this, but it would become like a pyramid. It would just be building up higher and higher. Okay, and then this little, the dot of glue on each of those little lemon lolly flowers. The little halo, the crown. I was thinking this would be really pretty in like a metallic in gold or silver. But then with this card with the pumpkin pie designer paper with those little stars, and these little stars, coincidentally, do you notice how perfectly they match? I thought, you know, I'll put the bling on it. Okay, so those are done. Those are drying. Drying. We're getting there. Okay, now put these on at the end once this is in place. Okay, so let's start building it. So put the flowers on, one here and here. Then the words. It's going to go about in the middle. How about right here? And just just like that. And you know, I tried different ways, but I tried where the flowers were just a little bit lower so they would make the words stand out a little bit stronger because it has the white back behind it, making the navy really pop out. But then I was covering up the flowers, and I really like the flowers. So there is a bit of a gap, but that's fine. So now I'll put glue on here. Now put it to the card front, and before it gets too dry, I'll stick underneath the flowers, the leaves, and that little sprig. So this could go right in the middle. Just like that. Okay, then this can go right there. Ooh, I like it under the words. I'm going to be careful with the glue because I don't want that red. I don't know why it turned red. I know all the colors, they have different colors within them, but I didn't see that red color coming. And this one, look how cute that turned out. I mean, you could have a whole card. Imagine if you had 3 of these in a row, then you could have words right over the stem. That would be cute. I keep using this Zinnia set. I'm happy it's still available online. Online exclusives. Oh, and all the Christmas stuff, the golden greenery. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so this can go. Oh, that's starting to dry. Those petals are stuck down pretty well. I'm sure I can lift them. The air conditioner finally kicked on. It's been so hot, and today is a little bit cooler. It's nice. And across the street we have the drag boat races. I think that they're taking a break right now because all day long it's been really noisy. But it's, oh, and I got, look at that. You saw me be careful. Look how there's the little bits of red. How'd that happen? It doesn't even come off because it's glue. Well, I'll try harder. Okay, so now the 5 little tiny flowers. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those could go anywhere. These little flowers, you could make like 20 of them and they would be so cute on here. I think 5 is enough. Especially because that's what that one die did. Okay, so now let's do this stuff. This stuff is so much fun. I was thinking because there's this pack, the metallic, and then there's another pack that comes with red, white, and black. I was thinking I'll never use the black, but it is so cute. If ever you have, so say that this designer paper was not quite so busy. If you're doing a black and white type card, I'll come up with something a little dark here. Garbage can. So say you had all this and this was a little bit lighter, and say that you're doing the black, it would still be cute with this one, but it would be too busy. You give it a little squeeze and just touch down like 3 times in a row and have those, like the little pearls or little rhinestones around your card. This is fun stuff. Okay, so they're gonna go on here. Ooh, that's a big drip. And it just takes a little pressure, and then you get tiny little dots. If you want them super tiny, just don't squeeze at all. Look how little that one is. I want these a little bigger. Oh, I hear the racers. It's really nice because at 10 o'clock sharp, they do quiet down. If I were to go out on the porch, I'd hear them like talking like somebody's sitting around the fire, or I don't think that they have fires over there, but you could just hear people talking and kind of laughing. But they're really good about that. Okay, so the outside, oh, the bling. The bling, I love this bling. So I'll put on 3 of these, 2 of one size, 1, okay, it could go there, 1 of another size. So big, little. I kind of like putting them on the part that I use the blending brush, just because it's a little bit more solid of color, so they stand out just a little bit better. Okay, but I have to let these enamel effects dry a bit more. So let's work on the inside. So the inside, that can dry. The inside, I'm using my stamp positioning tool. And whatever tool you have is just fine. And getting the paper way in the corner. Now use Memento ink. On some of them I did the words in navy and the flower in Memento. It's like you can't even tell the difference. And that's 2 different stamp pads. So I decided it's all going to be Memento. Okay, get it way into the corner. And on each one of them, I did it 2 times because this is like, okay, that's good. And when you look at it, okay, see, that's just fine. But when I do it a second time, this black around the flower center gets really dark, and it makes all the little details stand out a bit more. So I do it a second time. And if it's lined up the way that it was lined up the first time, it will be perfection. So bottom corner. Okay, you ready? Oh, I shifted it. Don't tell anyone. Okay, that's what not to do, or just do it once. Okay, here I am. I'm taking a gamble. I can't believe it. I did so many of them, and they're all perfect. And now shifted just a little bit. Okay, corner. You see me getting it in the corner. There we go. And look how dark the flower is. That's really nice. Okay, I'm done with that. But I don't want to have to clean this, wipe it off and clean it. So I'm being a little bit lazy because I have a few more cards to make. So this thickness of paper is all it takes so that the ink won't go on the platform. Okay, so this is good. Look how nice that is. Oh, dry. So now I'm going to do a little bit, I'll need this for the leaves. That one's not done. Here's the samples. So I'm going to stamp leaves on here. Then this cute little star, which happens to be like these. They happen to be like the halo. They happen to be like that. It's all matchy-matchy. This one right here, I'm going to stamp that in boho. Right here. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of color inside on the flower using blends. Okay, so let's start out by doing the leaves. And I have a mask right there. Leaves. Then boho, that cute little matching pattern right here, and then here. Okay. So Tony's gone for the weekend. He's going to visit family, and his mom, she just had a birthday. And he just called and he made it safely, which is great. That means I have a lot of time to be here in my room. Okay, so I'm going to use olive because that matches the outside leaves. So I'm going to start with olive light, color the whole thing in. And I'll hold this up here close in just a minute. Right out to the edges. And I'm not too worried about getting right up against the flower because that will be olive dark. Okay, so that's right up the whole thing. Now here is olive dark. I'm going to go against the flower. And if you do one color and then you move on to a second color and don't let it dry too much, you don't have that much blending to do, which is kind of nice. So I'm just following the lines that the artist who designed this set, this stamp, said, this is where it should be just a little bit darker. And I think this will need a little bit of blending because I see some areas that are definitely light and dark. So I'll take this, go wherever I see the seam, just leave it at that. So because Tony's not here, I started watching, well, I went to Netflix. It's like, I'm going to put a movie on because it's really fun to binge like different series where it's got all these different episodes. So I did watch, because it was suggested for you from Netflix, Bridgerton, because I watched Downton Abbey and I really enjoyed that. And I watched that because my friend Terry always talks about how good it is. So finally I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And I really liked it. Anyhow, so I watched, I think, like the first 1.5 seasons, and then something came up and I wasn't watching it. But I thought, well, this would be good because I think that there's a new season out. So sure enough, I went to Netflix, season 3. And I'm like, well, I didn't get all the way through season 2. I'm like, well, what season did I get to? I don't know. And Netflix didn't tell me, pick up where you left off. But because it's been a while, I wouldn't have remembered anyhow. So I started over. It is so good. The first when I was watching it, I thought, this is a little bit funny, but it does have a good storyline. So, if ever you have any interest, it's kind of fun to watch. I don't know how much I'll get through, but it'll be fun. Ooh, I almost messed up there. A little bit of shadow. And then when you look at the first leaf to the second one needs just a little bit of blending. Just because this line here at the bottom, that's just too strong. So if you go right over the seam, kind of blends it. Maybe a little bit there. Okay, so to do the flower, no blending at all on the rest of this project. So I'm going to take boho, do the flower center, all of it solid. And I'm leaving the little stars to do in Lemon Lolly. And then on the leaves, I'm just doing just a swish. And it gives it just a hint of color. And I'm not going to go back through with the color lifter and kind of blend it out. I'm purposely leaving them just with a swoosh of color. I'll hold it up here in a minute. But not too much. And I probably could have chose a lighter blue somewhere along the way, but I wanted it to match what was on the front. Okay, so when you look at this, you're going to be like, that's not all that precise, and it isn't. Just see the one little swoosh from the flower center out where the artist did the lines, and I'm just going to leave it like that. And now the little star halo pieces, I'll color with Lemon Lolly. Lemon Lolly Dark. And there's all these little dots down here, and I think that's kind of these little stars, but I'm just going to leave them white. Okay. And then one other little thing is Pool Party Light. So when you look at the two different flowers, this one I did Pool Party around the whole outside edge. This one I haven't yet. But it gives it just like a little glow, a little halo, and it makes the petals look really white. Where here, they just kind of blend in. And yes, when you look at it, yes, those are white petals. But I think that the Pool Party gives it a nice little touch. And I'm not going to take time to do the blending on this either, because it will dry lighter than what you see right when it goes onto the paper, the marker onto the paper. But it just kind of brightens up those petals. And if you're real precise, you could go through and you could use your blending brush on the petals and the Pool Party. But I think it's okay like this. Okay. Yeah, that one wasn't good. I can't open it too far because my enamel effects might be still wet. Okay, so that's it for today's project. I hope you have a great weekend and thanks for watching. Bye.